What's going on? Welcome to the Deal Champs podcast. We have another amazing guest for you today, the king of Lambos, King Kong of Lambos, Daniel Kong. Man, I made that one up off the top of my head.
What's cracking, guys? It's a little over exaggerated, but humble Lambo owner, if you put it that way. So,
Thank you so much for coming, bro. For those of you
yeah,
guys,
sure.
if
Thanks
this
for
is your
having me
first,
on.
of course, dude. For those of you guys, if this is your first time listening to Deal Champs, our mission here is to empower and inspire our listeners. We want to highlight real life deals from real entrepreneurs who are doing business and give you guys actionable things you can go and implement in your business. Every podcast and every guest we bring on, we want to learn from them. And so we know that you guys will learn from them as well. My name is Stratton Brown, Mr. at Strat Daddy. I own a 7-figure real estate portfolio. We own 2 other 7-figure businesses. We help people get their first wholesaling deal in real estate. And I got my start as a college athlete. Thought I was going to make a bunch of money. Didn't make any money, unlike Mr. Dean Rogers over there. And I ended up working for another guy, and real estate absolutely changed my life. We have Mr. Captain America, Dean Rogers.
What's up, guys? You're the co-host here. My story is I transitioned from the NFL to then corporate to then real estate. Been investing in real estate for a decade now in Central California. I've done over 550 deals. It's getting really close to 600, about to get there. Rental portfolio, almost $10 million, and coaching students how to get started and find success in their business as well. You guys can always connect with me at deanrogers.com.
Awesome.
And then the master of Lambos, the King Kong of real estate, Lambo King, Daniel Kong.
What's cracking, guys? What's cracking?
Tell us, man. Give us the 10,000 foot view. Tease the listeners on.
I was a software developer for like a long time, just like high school, college, work at W2 for like a long period of time. In 2018, I read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, which blew my mind. Started on me this bunny trail of like real estate investing. Started investing, doing the BRRRR strategy, built up a rental portfolio to replace my job as a software developer. And then from there, just kind of kept on scaling and trying to get better and better. Now we're flipping, buying some commercial properties, doing some syndications, and just trying to be on cool stages and podcasts like the one that you guys have over here. So,
bro, where were you a software developer at? I was with a guy this weekend who makes a lot of money for a W2 job, and he works at Netflix, and he's like a head developer, and he's making bank.
It's
hard to leave.
It was a local company here in Hawaii, and I didn't make very much. Like honestly, it was under 6 figures. My goal when I was a software developer,
Wow.
And I think people in Hawaii are notoriously underpaid just because we don't have like a lot of big opportunities here like California for example.
Yeah.
But in Hawaii, like when I was a software developer, I think like my goal was like 6 figures, that was like my whole goal in life. And I had like such a limited view of the world of like what was possible. I think because all my friends were not making a lot of money. And so I was like, hey, if I just make 6 figures, I feel like I made it, And never trying to like own a house. Like that's not enough to live, to buy a house here in Hawaii, but just like, I was just planning to rent for my whole life. But just as a software developer, I was thinking making under 6 figures. My goal is to get to the 6-figure mark. I think right when I was about to quit, I think I was just breaching that 6-figure mark. But it was like, that was like when I was an exit to go into real estate full time. So,
bro, that's crazy. And then it only took you 3 years of buying stuff to retire.
I got part of it was like the riding the wave of COVID too. So I got lucky in a few deals, which kind of boosted my speed. I think I probably would have gotten there maybe like in 5 years if it wasn't for like the COVID kind of extra push that I got. But yeah,
3 years. Was it more cash flow, or was it more like big pops that made you feel comfortable leaving your job?
It was cash flow. So like the thing is like in order to get the cash flow, you need like massive equity, right? Because in order to get the cash flow you need, like you are like, if I was to like sell it out, I would make a big chunk of change. But it was the cash flow that was more than my W2 that allowed me to actually to retire. It was actually 2.5 years, but it took 6 months to convince my wife to actually let me quit my job, even after we had like the passive income that was like replacing my W2. So,
bro, that's crazy. Because I don't know anyone else who's like built up that much cash flow that fast.
It was honestly like really, really, I mean, like I said, COVID and a few lucky deals here in Hawaii that, yeah, it kind of like catapulted my cash flow like really, really high. So, yeah.
Talk about the lucky deal there in Hawaii that like bumped your cash flow.
Well, there's one deal that we did was we were running a website, pay per click, and some online ads, and someone reached out to us and like, hey, they want to sell their house, and so like the quick numbers of it was we bought it for a 660, and we took it over subject to the existing mortgage. We put about 120 into it. I did some of the work myself because like I was just starting, so I was just trying to like save on costs, etc. It appraised for 1.2. We refinanced out the entire amount of like our the renovation and the purchase, and then because I did it as a primary refinance, we got like a 3% interest rate. So then like our mortgage was like 3,900, and then it was renting. So it's kind of like it's like a fourplex. So we got 3,000, 2,500, and 2,500, and then like we lived in one side. So basically cash flowing, living, and it was like, yeah, it was a pretty good deal. So that was one of our better deals like in Hawaii.
So
you could retire
all
off
your
that.
deals in Hawaii?
I beg your pardon?
All your deals in Hawaii?
So when I first started, it was actually all in Indianapolis, because when I first started, I didn't have any money, and I thought Hawaii is too big of a market or price point for me to play in. So I was like, I basically got my start out of state investing in Indianapolis, did like a bunch of burrs over there. Eventually I thought like, hey, let's come back to Hawaii and do fix and flipping, because Hawaii is a good fix and flip market. Let's make some money and then turn on my burr machine to like, I just need like 50 houses in the Midwest to retire, right? So like you're only getting like a few $100 cash flow for each one, but then after like you get so many, then like it'll catapult you a lot, right? So my plan was to make some money fix and flipping here in Hawaii, and then kind of like supercharge my burr machine that I had going on in Indianapolis. But I got lucky in like a few deals here in Hawaii that like catapulted my cash flow really high. And after I started playing the Hawaii market, I was like, one deal in Hawaii is worth like 10 deals in Indianapolis. So like, why am I wasting my time over here? I just decided to stick in the Hawaii market. So that was kind of like the transition, how it all happened.
Were you buying like ones and twos in Hawaii, or were you buying like fourplexes and above?
It was like, I mean, you're always trying to get like as many doors as possible per house, but it's just where we can get good deals, right? So like we're advertising, and whenever the good deal would pop up, but we're always trying to get as many doors as possible. But so the first few deals was like, they're kind of like, they're not like really multifamily. They're like single family homes that you can like, legally they're single family homes, but then they're all really separated into like these like multifamily kind of like situations.
And how many of those do you have? Sorry, Dean.
10. I mean, like in Hawaii, maybe like 7 or 8, something like that.
Houses or units?
Houses, yeah.
That's
so dope. Units, like a little bit more, like maybe double that in units or so.
And then you get the equity gain too, and that's one thing that like nobody really gets.
Yeah, I mean,
get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, no, I mean, like being invested in Hawaii is very lucky, because like, you get like that. I mean, if you can make a cash flow, the appreciation destroys any like the equity that you gain that you have. So I mean, yeah, the appreciation game is like it's like a big boys game here in Hawaii, where like it dwarfs any of the cash flow. So I mean, like in retrospect, I would have played like this game first, because try to get the equity and the cash out first over like the cash flow, because the houses in Indy, like they're good cash flow, but like only a couple $100, but then like also the equity doesn't really go up to the same amount that like a Hawaii house does.
Yeah.
I was going to take you back to when you were just getting started. You read Rich Dad Poor Dad while you were a software developer?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What did that do for you? Did you just have like a crazy mind shift and just said, what the heck am I doing right now?
Bro, it was almost like a out of body experience. Like when I was like, number one, like my whole life, right? Like I've just been in my lane, right? My parents said, get good grades. I got good grades in school. And then I go to college. I graduated in 4 years, straight out of college. I went straight to working for like a long period of time. And I just was in my lane. And I've never even heard the concept of passive income. Like it wasn't even like a blip on my radar. Like it didn't even exist in the universe. Like I never even thought of that idea. And so when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, the idea that you can get money without working, it was like such a foreign concept to me, where I was like that literally blew my mind. I was like this is possible kind of thing. And so that was kind of like sparked this whole kind of like bunny trail down the world of like investing. Actually, when I first started, because I came from software, I was like, how can I get passive income like the fastest way possible? So I thought, let's try to do stocks investing. And so like I went on this big bunny trail and like just researching how I can like build up like a passive income through a stock portfolio. After all my research, I realized like it's either high risk, high reward, or low risk, low reward. So it would either take a super long time or it have to be like super risky in order for me to like make it through the stock market. And so then real estate was like the other choice where like you can actually get like high reward with low risk. And then I was like, okay, now this is like this is the way to go. So that was
this was better.
Yeah, it's a lot better. It's a lot because you can control it, right? You can buy things with equity. There's like when you put in the work, I mean, there's like this real estate investing over stocks, if you're willing to work, is such a better like vehicle. So
yeah. So what was your path to actually getting into it? You did the research on the stocks.
Mm-hmm.
How much time did you spend doing that until you realized real estate was
it was probably like a month. I'm a big reader, so like I read books like really fast. So I went to the library, borrowed a whole bunch of books on like stock investing and things and so on. But after all my research, I basically came to the conclusion that index funds are the only like responsible way to like invest in stocks. And from there, I was like, okay, let's try the real estate. And so like I started reading like basically all the bigger pockets books, you know, like the book on rental property investing, the long distance real estate investing. The Burr book was not out yet at that time, but I would have read it if it was available. But the whole idea of the Burrs, I was listening to the podcast and hearing that concept. And so I was like, this makes a lot of sense because I didn't have any money and I wanted cash flow. So how can I make that happen, right? So the Burr strategy is a perfect opportunity to kind of like make that happen. So when I first started too, I didn't have any money. So I was like, hey, how, like, you're just trying to problem solve, right? Like, how can I get some money? So yeah. I had a 401k. So I took a loan against my 401k. And then like you take a loan against your 401k with no penalty. If you take out the cash, you have to pay like taxes and 10% penalty. But if you take a loan out on it, like there's no penalty. I think you can take out like a max of 50 grand or half, whatever is lower. And then I went to like all my local banks in my area and I took out this thing called like a personal line of credit. So like you can go to your bank like just like tomorrow and like you bring your W-2 pay stub and your credit score and they'll give you between like $20,000 to like $30,000 in just like a line of credit that's unsecured. So like in one day I just visited like 5 banks all in like around my neighborhood, applied in the same day. So like I had no debt on my credit report when I applied. And then each one gave me like 15, 20, 25, 30. So I got basically like $110,000 in just access to money in lines of credit. Ooh. Plus my 50 from my 401k. So now I had like 150, 160 just to play with. I have to pay out all back, right? But like at least I have something that I can play in the Indianapolis market with this money. So
yeah. Bro, so how did you build your team? Because I looked at building out a portfolio and where was it? It was in Indiana, but it was in South Bend. And I was like, it's going to take me too many houses to reach my cash flow goal. And it was hard to find a good team.
You know, so this is a question like a lot of people ask me about how do you build a team like out of state and so far away, right? And the simple answer is just hard work. So like if you think about this, is like if you have enough conversations and phone calls with enough people, eventually you're gonna start to build a relationship. So you join all the Facebook groups, you comment on people's things, you form like real legitimate like relationships with the agents, contractors, property managers, wholesalers, other investors in the area. And eventually if you have enough like conversations and referrals, you're gonna find like there's certain guys who are kind of like doing like a lot of deals and they kind of like the cream kind of rises to the top, right? So there's certain names like probably in your area where you all know, like everybody knows Dean, everybody knows Daddy or Stratton. And so like they know that anybody that you refer to, like it's a higher likelihood that your contractor is like more reputable, right? So the thing is like if a guy has a good name in the community, it's way less likely for him to screw anybody over because his name is more valuable than money, right? So like if you find guys in the community who are like, they care about their name and you like partner with them or their contacts or things, like you're basically just trying to get like referrals and make friends over like over the ocean to like make friends to get their referrals or their contacts. And so like if we had enough FaceTime, enough Facebook like responses, enough phone calls, like, hey, do you have like any other guys you'd recommend, etc. Just phone calls, Facebook messages. Eventually, you're gonna find guys that you can either will help you out, or you can trust, or you can pay to do your things. And so, long story short, it's just like a ton of phone calls, a ton of Facebook messages, and then the second part of that is we hired a project manager to manage our rehabs. So when you're hiring like a contractor from like 1,000 miles away, number one, you gotta vet him, like you want to get his referrals, but even if you get a good contractor that's been referred to by a few other investors, there's no guarantee that he's going to do good work, right? And he's not always going to take a picture of his good stuff when he's in the house. But what we do is we hire a project manager that we pay 10% over whatever the bid was. Like, let's say the bid was $30,000. We pay him $3,000 just to babysit the contractor. Like, show up, make sure the guys are there, take a picture of their work, like let us know if there's anything funky, and just be like our liaison, our boots on the ground there to manage the project for us. And that's like, it's really good because that guy is completely devoted to you, or he's like loyal to you, not loyal to like the contractor, right? The contractor is loyal to his subs and like him making money, but then he's not loyal to you, but your project manager is loyal to you. If you can find a friendly investor or a property manager or another agent who can like be your eyes on you there for you, that's a cheaper way to do it. But we're just like, let's just pay somebody to do it. It'll be like, it will run our numbers, assuming that we're going to pay a project manager. And then that's how we kind of like were able to do all the rehabs that we did like out of state.
I think that's a really important lesson you said right there, is like, you know, to make it feel like your backyard somewhere else, you got to put in the time. You got to talk to the right people. I feel like that's really true. Like, if you spend enough time in one place, and putting in those repetitions, and you're intentional about the people you're talking to and asking questions and stuff and trying to bring value to those conversations, then you're going to find out who the players are. You know, you're going to find out who's doing deals, who other people think highly of. And that starts to become pretty apparent pretty quick once you put in that time. But I think people will get caught up just rushing into, I want to do a deal here. I want to do a deal here. And we'll come to the conclusion it doesn't work because they just haven't put in enough time. You know, they haven't put in enough time.
I mean, 100% agree. And like, there was a big groundwork of just putting in time with the people in that community. And then what you're going to find is, like in Indianapolis, at least, there's a big investor community, both in state and out of state. And like, people are really friendly. And for whatever reason, like, they want to see you succeed. And so especially when I first started, there was like the Bigger Pockets forums where like you can make like real, like, I feel like real genuine kind of like connections on the forums and these Facebook groups where like just other investors want to help you out. And they're like, just like out of the goodness of their heart. Like, so, you know, like, even when I'm sure there's guys who come with you, young guys who are like, hey, I'm Dean, like I'm looking at a house here. Can you give me some advice? And just because you enjoy helping or teaching other people, then like, you're just going to help this guy out. And just like, I mean, you're not going to like give him the world, but you're going to help him. Here's some advice. Here's some things. Look, watch out for this, watch out for that. And just, if you have enough of those conversations in that market and just focus and dial in the market, you can really get a pulse of like both the players, the neighborhoods, and all of the kinds of ins and outs of like that particular market.
100%. This person says, sounds like a good field of work, being a project manager for out-of-state investors. What do you think about that?
100%.
It's a killer. I mean, like, it's like win-win, right? So like, for us, we're paying like $3,000 for like to manage our projects for like 2 months, right? But the guy, he does it for like a bunch of other investors. So he's probably making like 20, 30 grand, just two trips a week, right? You just visit the project, just take pictures and say like, okay, these guys are showing up. And so like, from his standpoint, the return on his time is very high because he's not doing a whole lot of work. It's just like the trust that he has, right? And if he gets like 10 to 15 other investors, if at one point I think I was doing like 3 main projects at a time with him, so like each of these projects are giving him between like 3 to like $7,000 a month, just, or $7,000 for just whatever that he's doing. So like, for his time, it's worth it for his time, but for you, it's also worth it for you because now you know that your project is going to be moving along and you have the trust and you have the contractor like on a good schedule, right?
Yep. For your projects that are out of state for you, because you're in Hawaii and you're doing deals in Indianapolis, does the decision you make to do the deal, is it just purely on holding it, or are you doing flips there? What kind of exit strategies do you have in the Indianapolis market?
When I was there that first year, it was all burrs. So like, in a burr strategy, it has to cash flow on the back end, and then there needs to be enough equity for you to refinance out your money. So if it works as a burr, it works as a flip. But if it works as a flip, it doesn't necessarily work as a burr because you need more equity in your deal for it to be a burr. True. So the burr is actually a more stringent kind of deal that you're trying to find because it needs to cash on the back end, and then it also has to have enough equity to refinance all your money. So basically, my exit strategy was always refinance, but then like, because of that, if things went wrong, I could potentially sell it for like a small profit, I think. So.
Yeah, that's such a good point right there. We were talking about this at the last event that Jason, Stratton, and myself hosted in Fresno. Michael Zuber was there. We were talking about the fact that our best deals, we actually keep as rentals, right?
Yeah.
It's because you can then have the ability to burr those out because there's that equity to do it.
Yeah. The other one is like if you want to do like a half burr where you leave some money in, like you can also do that too. But when I first started, it wasn't an option for me because I didn't have money. So I was like,
any money.
We gotta make this work with either like it's either gonna be a full burr or I gotta they gotta sell it at the back end. So
here comes Pat Hilton. He says Dean and Stratton are essentially the testosterone and masculinity that weak-minded fools call toxic. Real Americans call it epic. That's just a Pat Hilton. Pat Hilton dropping some bombs.
The Pat Hilton in here.
The Pat Hilton, bro.
The Pat Hilton.
He has a dope comment once a week.
Yep.
Of just an absolute
coming
ego
and dropping
stroke.
in.
We just I mean we're at Pineda's conference. Dude is animal, man. Amazing story, but amazing energy like that. That's one thing too I'm learning about leadership is that leadership is like energy. Like, so for your team and anything that you go into like when you go into business, like sometimes you're not bringing any like knowledge, any like skill. You're just bringing energy into your team or into your business. And that's such a big part of like being successful is bringing that energy in. Pat is like the master of just bringing energy into a room, into any situation. So like
he is. He's the most dangerous man in the game. I mean, the fact that he's got his backstory, he's willing to put everything on the line to grow and to add value to other people. I think that's one of the things that we can learn from a Pat Hilton is, look, if you can add value to other people and you're willing to do everything you can to make that dream come true and do it the right way with the right morals and ethics and everything, right? You got to have that context too. Then you can accomplish anything. And Pat just continues to put himself in the right rooms with the right people. And what's a conference without Pat Hilton now? A real estate conference with Pat Hilton?
It's not a conference.
Bro, it's not legit.
It's a meeting. It's a large meeting. If Pat's not there, it's just a large meeting.
If you think about it, no one else is really doing MCs before him either in the real estate space.
No, I've seen some people do well at it, but nothing consistent, nothing across the whole entire country,
But Daniel, are you still going into Indiana, or is it just a waste of time? I feel like it's a waste of time.
After I made that tried to transition to Hawaii after that first year, I basically said I'm not going back to Indianapolis because like the return of my time in Hawaii is so much greater. Like it's not worth it for me to go back to Indy. So that was like my conclusion.
Do you make any trips back out there?
No, I mean we've actually started going into the Kansas City market actually, which is very similar. But then we're buying commercial buildings, and it's part of it is like cash flow and tax savings. But like if you're buying like the singles in Indy, like I think it's a great way to start because it's relatively lower risk, and then like the cash. There's a whole bunch of like reasons why it's a really good way to start. But once at the level we're at now, like buying like $150,000 houses, it doesn't make sense for us on the return of our time. They make like 20-30 grand in equity, etc. Whereas like we need a lot more for on our time, and so unless you're doing like massive volume, that's another strategy as well too. But for us, we're looking to buy bigger deals, so like maybe like in 2 million range, which would be commercial properties in the Midwest markets. But for 2 million, you can get like a giant shopping centers and the cash flow really well. You can get a ton of depreciation and tax savings. So that's really what we're looking for in the Midwest on these commercial properties.
So is that, how new is that? Is that something you guys just transitioned into? Have you been swinging the bat at it, or?
We bought one at the end of last year and one in the beginning of this year, and we're under contract for 2 more like right now. So like it's kind of like we're adding that to like that's kind of like the next step in our evolution.
Wow.
And just we're trying to like make more steps in that direction right now.
Bro, and that's a lot in the commercial space too. Like if you do like 4 deals a year when you start doing big boy deals, that's a lot of deals.
I got super lucky, man. I swear, like my whole career, I've like, the thing is like you do enough, like you hit enough singles, you get a home run every so often, right? So like,
bro, you're not lucky if it happens all the time. You're just good.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm lucky too, but I mean, like, we got this one commercial deal which is like a super home run deal. So I'm super high in commercial now because we have 2 good deals and one of them is like a home run. So it's
tell us about the home run. Oh, sorry.
Tell us about the home run, but I want to some questions out of that. I'm going to write down my questions as you tell us.
Quick numbers. We bought it for 1.4. We're probably gonna put in like 200 or 300 in like 10 improvements. It's gonna be worth 5 million in like a year. It's stupid. I mean, like it seems like it's fake. I mean, like but it's like, yeah, there's a whole backstory behind it of like why.
Where'd you get such a juicy deal?
On the MLS, bro. On LoopNet.
Oh, come on, don't tell us that.
Bro, you didn't buy it on fucking LoopNet.
Well, here's the thing though. Is like, it's basically is you're just looking for like the things that are like value add, right? So like for whatever reason, these guys, they had like this like mini shop, like shopping, like office retail, bunch of buildings, and they wanted to tear the whole thing down and build like a 102 unit complex. So they're advertised as like a tear down, and like we want you to like come and partner with us to like build like 102 units. So like they didn't take care of the building. Like everybody was month to month. They're like they're trying to keep people out because they want to sell the building. So basically the building went to like, or the NOI went down super low because they were trying to like sell it and like to be rebuilt. And then during that time, and then commercial is tricky because like the location is super important. So like, let's say you have like in residential, like they're both street, if they're like next to each other, like they're relatively like the same price, right? But in commercial, if you got one street that's like on a main road and the building behind it is worth way less because you'd have way less foot traffic, way less eyes, way less vehicles. And so it's very nuanced as to like what you can get a price per square foot, like your tenants, et cetera, on the commercial side. And so from a Google point of view, this one shot, it was like right behind a shopping center. And then on Google, in the Google view, it looked like it wasn't like a great location because the street behind it didn't look like it was high traffic. But after you walk it, it's like a different story. And so there's a brand new development that like a senior housing went up like right next door. It's like brand new over there. And then basically knowing like our property manager basically lived like walking distance from this thing. So he knew the neighborhood very well. And so we had some inside knowledge basically where this thing was like undervalued, and the people who were probably looking at it didn't realize like the price per square foot that they could get from it, which is not a whole lot, but like decent for that area. And so like taking all that into account, basically we said like, we don't want to tear this thing down. It's still in great shape. There's lots of parking. It's like very visible. Let's just like buy it as is. And then we would just like re-tenant the place and do a like minor improvements to a few things like here and there, and then get the NOI back to like up and humming. So that's like the short story of like the deal behind it. So
we have a question here. That is a banger. What city do we all live in? I live in San Diego. Daniel lives in Hawaii. Which island do you live on? Oahu, right?
Oahu, yeah, Oahu. Yeah.
Okay. And then Strat Daddy, he lives in a trailer, travels the country.
Yeah, I live in a trailer right now. I've been traveling the country for like the last month and a half. Then we went to like Mexico. Now I'm in a trailer again. I'll be back in Fresno like next week or the week after that.
Yeah. Yes. But so I got questions for you. So what was it that took you from single family, BRRRR, rentals, cash flow to say, all right, how about commercial? Let's just totally shift asset classes.
So, I mean, it was basically like when you're making money as a fix and flipper is like, it's all active income, right? So you're always looking to kind of shield the money that you're making. Like you want to like try and pay as little as you can to the IRS. And one of the big ways of doing that is with depreciation. So like the idea is like, let's say like you make like $1 million. If you can like, how can you take that money? If you like pay taxes, you're going to pay like 500 grand in taxes, right? So how can you shield that active income from paying taxes? And the best way is buying like bigger assets. So like, let's say a commercial building that you buy for, let's say $1 million, you put like $200,000 down and you own like $1 million asset with a cost segregation and a bonus depreciation in year one, you get a $300,000 deduction against your active income. So you're basically trying to take your active income and put it into like a bigger deals where you can get a big tax savings. And so you're saving money on taxes, but this commercial deal, it also cash flows positive because there's like the cap rates and stuff on the commercial that is better than like in a single family. So quick example is, let's say you buy like $1 million house in Hawaii. $1 million house in Hawaii, $800,000 is land, $200,000 is building. So you got like a $200,000 building for this $1 million.
Right.
You take that same $1 million, you buy commercial building in Kansas City Now, like the land is like super cheap. The land is $100,000.
Building cost.
The building is $900,000. So you've got $900,000 worth of building, $900,000 worth of rent, worth of tax depreciation in that building for that same $1 million. And then you only need to put down like 20%, right? And then on these buildings, we're like, hey, like, so if we can just buy them turnkey, I mean, like the thing is, so in multifamily and in commercial, because multifamily, everyone in the mind wants to be in multifamily, the cap rates are so compressed and so low, like they don't cash flow when you put debt on them. But then in commercial, especially someplace in the Midwest, the exit cap rates are like 7.5%, 8%. So then like they actually cash flow after you put debt on them. If you buy them like distressed, you can buy them at a stupid like 15 cap or something like retarded like that, and then like they cash flow like really high. So I mean, like, we're like, if we just buy them turnkey, they're already a good deal for us because they'll cash flow, and then also we get a huge tax savings, which basically is like extra income in our pocket, right? But if we can just apply the same strategies that we have in single family and try to burr these guys, now it's like it's on a whole nother level, right? So like you burr this property, you get the tax savings. After like 2 years, you pull all your money out in a refinance. It's just like it just fits so well with like your flipping strategy. So taking your active income here, the same skill set you're doing here, just move it to a slightly different asset class that have enough depreciation to make sense in cash flow. And then now you're building your cash flow and like your portfolio, like there is also synergistic. So,
well, and bro, I didn't know you get a tax benefit for being in an active project that entire time too.
What do you mean by
I got
that?
this. Mitch Palmer always told me about this, Dean.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, bro, we're working on so many deals.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tax write-off because we're spending $1 million a year on projects.
Yeah. I mean, so like any money that you spend into it is a capital improvement, right? So you can like, there's some recapture that you can get for that too. I mean,
and so he's getting recapture on that too.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely.
Yeah.
So
no, it starts to get pretty exciting about all the different benefits. I mean, that's why we're all in real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how are you finding these deals? You know, you have this experience, this track record of looking at deals, analyzing deals in the single family space. How did you shift gears, and how are you finding those now?
Actually, I joined like a mentorship. So that's there's a guy here in Hawaii who was doing that. So he basically like he came to the conclusion of like he had like an aha moment, and he started like playing around in the Kansas City market buying commercial buildings. And then from like after some success, he's like, hey, does anybody else want to like join me and like do what I'm doing? They're like, yeah, I want to. Like I knew the guy beforehand. He was like a pretty successful real estate investor. So he made he formed a little like mentorship. It's called WNN Properties. But basically it's like a commercial mentorship where like you're joining him, using his team, his broker, his things. And so like, we're just kind of piggybacking off of his success. And just like, we're basically, you're buying to like buy his resources and his experience over there. And then so like, we're all looking for deals like together. And like, when like one deal comes up, it's like, hey, let's like, whose turn is it to pick up this one kind of thing, you know? So like there's a few bunch of us here in Hawaii who are all buying commercial properties in Kansas City. And then you got like a little hui or a big group of you. Now you have like more buying power. Your contractors and your managers have like more like, you have more weight on your decisions. So there's a whole bunch of things you get like when you come in together in the same market. Plus we share knowledge, like, hey, like my experiences and like you know the lay of the land like really well because there's a whole bunch of other guys who are like in the same area doing the same thing.
Did you say there's a huli of you?
It's a hui. It's like I think hui is like a Hawaiian word. It means like a group, or it's like a bunch of like friends who like together. We call it a hui. So
I like that.
Did you grow up in Hawaii?
Yeah, born and raised in Hawaii. So.
So
do you speak Pidgin too?
It comes out naturally when it's weird if somebody asks me that because like I won't say it normally, but like when I'm around other people who speak Pidgin, it comes out. It's like, yeah, I do.
Okay. I have a couple friends from Hawaii, and I couldn't understand them when they first came over.
That's funny. So it sounds like relationships have played a massive role in getting into the commercial space. How do you guys structure the deals? How do you guys raise the money for it? You know, what does that whole thing look like? How do you take it down?
So one of the good things is that like, because like Hawaii is kind of a higher price market like California, you raise a lot of money for like our fix and flips, right? So we're raising millions of dollars a year for our fix and flip projects. Basically, we have a small track record where there's people who want to lend us money. We pay like between 10 to 12% like annualized. So like someone lends us like $100,000, we give them like $1,000 a month, and then at the end of the project they get back their $100,000, right? We had actually this one couple or these parents of our friends, they basically had like 600 grand, 650 grand just sitting in their bank checking account doing nothing. So they lent it to us for a project, and now we paid them like $6 grand a month to borrow their money for our projects. Now they're getting like, it's almost like another income source for them, right? Because like they got like extra $6 grand to like spend on their grandkids or do whatever they want. And so like we're like a good resource as investors to get people to, I like to call it taking your equity and turning it into cash flow, because there's a lot of people in Hawaii who have like a ton of equity. The housing prices have gone up over the last like 10 years. They've got hundreds of thousands of dollars just sitting there. Take out a HELOC, we'll turn your equity into cash flow. And so because of that, we actually have like a small waiting list of people who are trying to get into our deals on our fix and flips. And so we were like, hey, how can we get
Send
more
them over?
Yeah, bro, I'll take them. I got deals. I got deals that need funding.
Basically, like, hey, like let's like leverage some of like the demand and put it towards our commercial deal. And so like we're the exact same lenders. We're as opposed to paying them private money on the fix and flips, we're paying them private money like on our commercial deals. And it's like,
are you not giving up any equity in those deals then? Or are you just giving them like straight debt?
It's just free debt lenders for these, yeah. So they're just bigger burrs basically for us. And so
yeah,
bro, that's awesome, because that's the number one way to like really skyrocket your net worth, because you give up quite a bit when you do syndications.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then if you do a couple of your office deals like the way you're doing, bro, you're gonna be worth 50 million a lot faster than doing a bunch of.
No, we're looking at the different models. So we're actually part of a syndication in Houston, like 102 unit. But as a GP, you really get like such a small piece of the pie. I mean, like it's when you can control like all the equity, then like at the end of the exit, then like you have like you're gonna make the multi-millions on like your exit. Assuming that your deal does make some multi-millions, right? So like I mean, there's pros and cons for both. Obviously, like when you do syndications, it's a lot less work. Even though like the commercial is not a whole lot of work because you got a team. But I mean, so yeah, there's pros and cons for both sides. But I think you're building wealth faster if you own the whole asset yourself. So
yeah.
So tell us more about you found real estate, you got into it, and is the story that you replaced your income and you stopped working in 3 years? Is that what it was?
Yeah. So I mean, in 2.5 years, we built enough passive income to replace my sad salary. It wasn't like much of salary in Hawaii, but like my sad salary got replaced. And then I was like, hey, hon, I was like, can I quit my job? I want to do like real estate full time. And she's like, no, you can't. So it was 6 more months of negotiation. Finally, she said, okay, like it seems like it's a steady thing. But the crazy thing was, so we did like the enough passive income to replace my job, but at the same time, I kept on investing, right? So we had a bunch of fix and flips going on at the same time. And then in the flipping market, like we were making like 10 times what I was making at my flipping versus what I was making at my W-2. And I was only working like 9 to 5 W-2 and then like 5 to like whatever, like 12, like on like, so investing was like more like a hobby or like a side hustle at that point, right? So I was like,
yeah,
well, why am I working for like $40 an hour over here in my W-2 when I'm making this much, like 3 or 4 or 500 over here? It just doesn't make sense. Like just from like a standpoint. So I was just like, hey, hon, like it just doesn't make sense for me to do this over here anymore. And so after 6 months, she's like, okay, I agree. And so like I left my W-2 and then I just started going to like basically flipping full time after that. So flipping and burning from there.
How many flips do you have going right now? Like, because you don't need to do a lot out there to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I think we have like eight or nine, I think. But the thing is, like, we have like a small team. And so like, well, Ryan gives me crap about this all the time because we don't do like that many a year, like 10 to 15 a year probably. But then like we have a team, like a pretty sizable team as far as like full-time and part-time to like be able to handle our things. So like between everybody who's kind of putting in the work is like, it really allows me the free time to kind of like think, process, make things better, or like kind of go after the commercial properties and those kind of stuff. So
why does Ryan give you shit about that?
He's just like, bro, your team is too big for how many deals you do. So either you have to make your team smaller.
Oh, you have too much drag. Yeah.
I mean, that's what yeah. But I mean, like it's true, and it's yes and no. And number one is like I like my guys to have margin, so like it's like so we can like I mean like I like be more basically like it's good and bad. So yeah.
So where do you want to take things with your business now? Is the goal just to do more and only commercial, or are you trying to do just everything that you're doing now and add commercial into it?
I feel like right now it's like so synergistic where like the big thing is like for commercial, you got to raise a lot of money, right? So like it's you always like one of the big things of raising money is like having a track record and then having like a social media presence. And so I'm putting more energy and effort into my social media presence, so like I can have like a better impact on being able to raise money or allow people to grow their money. Like, and so like it's a part of it is putting more energy into social media, but then at the same time, because we have a team doing our fix and flipping, I'm not really involved in the day-to-day so much, where like it's kind of like a machine that runs and generates cash flow and clout for me at the same time. And so it's kind of like it's everything like is working together like synergistically. And then at the same time, like the team that we built, like I freaking love these guys. Like they're I think what I realized is like when I was doing everything by myself, you kind of like an island, right? Like you have other friends who are other investors and like we're doing things, but once you start to build a team, like now your team kind of becomes like your coworkers or your mini family. And so like my goal is to kind of get them to financial freedom. So I'm like, hey, if you guys just continue to pump out this cash flow from this fix and flip company, I can take my skill set and my resources, my what I can do bigger deals in these commercial things, and overall we can all win. And so like the plan is to actually give like some of my team a small piece of like every few commercial properties. One will go to like our team where they can split, and down the line help them reach financial freedom as well too. So like there's kind of like everybody plays in their lane, where in their superpower and they're maximizing what they're doing, and then like everybody kind of wins like together, where it's like a very like a lane and synergistic kind of way. So
are you connected with Henry Washington yet?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I might have like,
with Henry.
I might have like talked to him on like Instagram or something, but never like impressed him.
Yeah, we got to connect you with Henry. You guys got the same vibe.
Yeah. No, I'm looking, if you guys aren't following Daniel, you got to go follow him at Daniel Kong 808. You got a couple followers,
What are you at right now?
Lucky. I got a few like viral posts that got me a bunch of followers.
126,000 as I'm looking at it right now.
Let's go.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is, like you said, by getting out there and networking with the right people, trying to help people, and you can see just looking through your stuff here, you're finding ways to connect with other people. You're finding ways to help other people grow with you. It's not just about like, none of your stuff is you flashing just you. Like, you're not in here flashing, look at me, look at that. It's like, here's me doing stuff with other people and highlighting other people, which is so fun for me. Like, when you can get around people like that, then the sky's the limit. You all lift each other up.
It's way more fun.
Where's the Lambo flash?
It's, I mean, it was kind of funny when I did buy the Lambo. A lot of guys were like, "Well, it's like super off brand for me because I'm not a flashy guy in general." So even when I bought it, I was like, it actually makes a lot of sense financially. We can go into like dig into that later, but basically, it was like it made a lot of sense in so many ways that like I couldn't turn it down. So it was like opportunity that you couldn't turn down. But basically, I mean, like I think going back to the team aspect, I think like if you really want to grow, there's like, you can work super hard by yourself, but you're going to hit a ceiling, right? And then the only way to kind of get past the ceiling is like build a team or help other people kind of like grow alongside you. And it's also like a lot more fun, I realized. It's like when I was doing it by myself, it's more of a grind, but when you're grinding next to other guys, and so you guys have a really cool thing because you got like three of you, your friends, right? Like you, Jason, and the two of you guys. And so like, as you guys are grinding together, it's just more fun in a group. And so
way more fun.
I think like just having like a team behind you or with you, like when you're going through the day-to-day, it just makes everything like way more fun. So I think like it would be hard for me to go back to solo after I've experienced like the funness of having like a team like alongside you. So teamwork definitely makes the journey funner, and you can go a lot farther.
Yeah, 100%. We got someone dropping some love, commercial versus syndication, dropping gems. You got another question here. Are you doing sub 2 in Hawaii?
Yes, I actually am. So like the one problem with sub 2 long term is that it's hard to find positive cash flow in Hawaii. So then like on like 90% of the deals, if you buy a house sub 2, you're not gonna be able to cash flow positive on it. Most of the deals that we buy sub 2 are like short-term sub 2 holds, where it's a 1-year hold and we're just gonna fix and flip it and we're gonna save on the hard money costs. But there are a couple of times that's not like, actually there's one deal we have where we're buying it sub 2 and we're like a little bit negative cash flow, but we're gonna just hold it until like the we're predicting the appreciation is going to outpace the negative cash flow on this particular deal. And so it matters, I think, where you are in your career. If I was early in my career, I wouldn't want the negative cash flow, but where we are now, I think like the risk reward of like the cash flow, like slightly negative, we can stomach that, but then like the reward of the appreciation is like, it's so worth it. So I think depending on where you are in your career, or if you want, another thing is like sub 2 and like keep it as a primary. So if you're gonna live there, that's like another story too. But on average, sub 2 is like a little harder to do, but like there's ways to make it happen.
So what does Hawaii appreciate at a year?
It's, I mean, like I like, don't quote me on this, but I want to say the last 5 years or 7 years have been like 10% or something stupid like that. But like, I think over the long run, it's around like 5% or something along those lines.
Still though.
Yeah, it's pretty, I mean, like, and it's also like neighborhood specific. So certain neighborhoods will appreciate a lot more than others, right? So like, it's really like, if you kind of know where the appreciation like curve is going, certain ones will appreciate like a lot. I think like there's one neighborhood in Hawaii, like it appreciated 200 grand like in the last like year. It's like, it's stupid. This place called Ainhaina. So like there's certain pockets where, and we know, you can kind of like guess like these things are gonna blow up very shortly. And so like, you kind of know where like the popular or like the up and coming or up and rising like neighborhoods are. So just by living here.
In Hawaii, is the more popular areas due to newer construction, or is it more like the transitional neighborhoods that are getting improved?
It's kind of like, it's more like just where, I guess like it's more new construction where development is happening, I think. So like certain areas of town where there's a lot more development is happening, or there's certain middle, I mean, there's certain just, yeah. So mostly like near houses are happening in that area, I think, too, like kind of gentrifying the area up in that area.
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing to talk about is kind of where you're going with where you're at in your journey. You know, you've been growing on social media, you've been networking with people, you know, you're speaking at events, you're on stages. Do you see yourself staying in Hawaii? Do you see yourself wanting to leave and maybe be closer to the States on the mainland, because you're doing a lot of that kind of stuff? You know, where do you see yourself?
You know, I mean, like there's actually one of my buddies moved to the mainland for more opportunities, because there is a limited number of stages and like networking that you can do in Hawaii. But I do also just do a lot of traveling. And so like for me, like
you're over here
born and raised in Hawaii, I love Hawaii. Like it's just like my family's here, like my friends are here. I know the island so well. I don't like, and also like for our flipping company, we have such a big competitive advantage being in Hawaii. We've established like a really strong like SEO and like brand over here that like we with agents, like sort of these different things. So like it'll be really hard for you to rebuild this somewhere else. So I think just from like that standpoint, like I probably would never leave Hawaii, but I'm like, I would live like in wherever for like a few months, or like travel to other places or those things. And traveling is like, I travel so much now where like I'm used to it. So like just fly wherever, like, you know, for like Vegas for a day, Cali for like a week, whatever. And it's like, it's almost like just like a long bus ride for me at this point. So
where's your deal flow coming from in Hawaii? Are you marketing, or is it all like SEO and agents?
It's all of the above. So like we do PPC, SEO, we have agents, we got referrals, we have people want to partner with us, we've got like some agent referrals. I mean, so like kind of like everything. At one point we're doing like kind of like a big outbound marketing. We were doing like texting and cold calling. I was texting 5,000 people a day at one point in our outreach. But then like we basically, like my conclusion came to was like we had enough deal flow. So I actually shut down some of my marketing, because like lo and behold, we have more deals than we could handle as far as our operations. So like we kind of like scaled back on our marketing. And so I feel like we're in a good spot where we have enough deal flow for like our current team, and like it makes sense for us where we're at least in this point in our business.
Why was buying a Lambo an amazing investment?
Yeah, tell us about it.
So I mean, like it's gonna ruin so like when I explain it, like, so when you know that I have a Lambo, like you're like, oh, that's cool. This guy must be doing really well. But then when you see like the deal I got, like it's like, okay, like this is just like a no-brainer investment. So I mean, let me. It's gonna ruin the mystique of it, but I'll break it down for you guys. So
not at all, bro.
So
just make sure when you're done, we get the same deal.
So like when you're buying like a brand new car, right? There's this thing called the car depreciation curve. So like in the very beginning, as soon as you drive it off the lot, it goes down in value. The first few years, it goes down in value. But the curve, it looks like this. It goes down and then it kind of evens out. So around year 5 to around year 8, it kind of stays similar. So brand new Lambo is probably about $350, right? And so that's what you're gonna buy for like a brand new Lambo off the lot. Maybe more, maybe less, depending on the spec, whatever. But then around the 5-year mark to the 8-year mark, it's gonna stay around the same value. So like a 5 to 8-year mark, the Lambo is gonna be like 210 right now, and then probably in a few years it'll be like in year 8 it'll be like worth 190. So it's not going to go a whole lot in that time. And so where we bought at the 5-year mark, 2017. So when I say we is, I didn't want to take the whole risk on myself because I know nothing about cars. I don't want to manage it. I don't want like I'm not a car guy. So like I said, like I'm not flashy. I don't know anything about cars, but I have a buddy who's like super into cars. He knows all the ins and outs, and so like how to maintain it, all these different things. And so I was like, okay, let's partner on this. He's another investor. We're partnering on some other stuff together. I was like, you take care of all the things, whatever, and then we'll just partner together like on this 50-50, right? So he knows how to pick the specs, and he found us like a really good deal where there's a motivated seller, and we got it for like under market value. So we bought it for 195, and so like in the next few years, we probably might sell it for the same price that we bought it for. So it's almost like a break even as far as like this owning this thing over the next 3 years, right? Because you buy it near the depreciation curve, plus we got it a good deal. So you can see a lot of guys car owners, they'll buy a really good deal, and the next few years they'll sell it for more than what they paid for in like 2 or 3 years, right? Just like the savvy car owners will do this all the time. So the whole idea is to do this same thing with the Lambo. And then during that time, we might rent it out in Turo here and there. When you're buying, like when you're looking at houses, like this is the thing you're familiar with, like the price to rent ratio, right? How much you can rent it for versus how much you can buy it for. And the Lambo has the best price to rent ratio out there when it comes to like the price for what you can rent it for. And so like the daily rate over here is going for like $1,000. I mean, you're not going to get a whole lot of bookings because it's not a high demand car, but like if you want to rent it out, you can make a little bit of cash on the side. And then anything that you make is basically going to be like positive for you because you're going to break even over the course of like the course of the next 3 years, right? So like from a financial, like economic number, it kind of makes sense. We put down like 10%. So you put on 20 grand, you're paying like a monthly fee. So like you're not a whole lot out of your pocket as far as like the investment. Plus I split it with a buddy because I'm not going to drive it like very much. And so like we're splitting the cost of it and like the use. I probably drive it like once, like 3 times a month or something. Like I don't drive it a whole lot, right? And so it's just sits in your garage. And so and then like so I rented out a few days in Turo. Like my buddy will take it wherever. I'll drive like a few days a month, whatever for. And so like from like an investment standpoint, is really good. On the positive side of that also is like you're getting all these extra benefits. Number one is social media. You can for people like I show them my house. They're like I show them my Lambo. Like oh the Lambo. So like it's just like it just gets my eyes for like the things. And then like it has the perception that you're doing really well. So whether or not like you're doing well or not, like if you like you can be leasing it or whatever, but people just think you're doing well. So like it gives you more clout when it comes to like private money lenders or other investors who want to partner with you just because you have like this showpiece, right? And then like in addition, there's like these things called like the Lambo clubs or like these little meetups where like basically all the rich people who have these fancy cars that get together and like they compare like all the Rolex watches or whatever, like like they are like all like these people and so like but you're getting to get in that room. So like the price of entry into that room is a Lambo. So like if you have a Lambo, now you have like that's your ticket to get into the room. So it's a great way to network with other successful business owners here in Hawaii. All of them are like small business owners who are like crushing in some form of fashion. And some of them also have money too, right? Where they're like, hey, like I made all this money. What I do with it? I'm like, hey, like we got deals if you want to fund some more deals. So we actually have a private lender from one of our meetups at one of these clubs. And so like it just hits on so many different ways by just owning the car beyond just like the financial. But in addition to the financial, is like we're probably gonna make money over the next 3 years of like from the Turo and like the loan pay down or whatever, or like we might end up positive and sell it for more than we actually bought it for. So just it hits on so many different ways. And so like I destroyed the mystique of it, but then like you can see how like it's just like almost like a no-brainer to kind of own one of these guys.
How did you finance it? Like what was the financing? Was it a lease? Like did you actually buy it?
Basically, like so Lamborghini Financial, like I think they just check your credit score. Like they don't check my income or nothing. Just like you want to buy it, sure. Like well, as long as you have a decent credit score, they'll finance it for you.
Bro, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
There's also it's on a 5-year as a 5-year mortgage. But then if there's a company called, I think, Woodside, where they'll actually put you like on a 15-year mortgage. So like your payments will be like really small. So like it's
Oh, wow.
it's if you want to like make smaller payments on like or on the monthly or something. So it's another thing.
And really, if you're buying it at a good enough price, you can put it on a 15, still sell it for a profit, and just make money owning a car.
Yeah. As long, I mean, just like your entry price, right? So it's a depreciating asset, but at a certain point in the curve, it's only going to depreciate a very little. So if you buy it underneath that small the depreciation that's going to be,
if you buy it underneath that point,
profit, right? So,
Dino, you want to buy a Lambo? I asked Dean if he wanted to buy a helicopter the other day. Was it a helicopter or was it a jet? No, I asked him if he wanted to buy a jet with me.
You asked me a jet, but I'm pretty sure you've asked me about a helicopter too. I don't know. I've been tempted to buy some flashy stuff because, like you said, it's the entry price to get into some of these rooms, some of these meetings. And so, how intentional would you say you are about actually utilizing that and actually taking full advantage in going to these events?
I mean, I'm all about it, man. Like, number one is fun because, like, I like talking about business. I like talking about, entrepreneurship and just talking to other guys who are successful. Like, I just really enjoy it. So, like, number one is really fun for me. Just like seeing what do you do, how do you do it, what challenges are you facing, like, what's like, how can I help you in every way? I really enjoy those conversations. But then, like, so like number one is very fun, but also is intentional because we're trying to like raise money. We're trying to like improve our systems, our business. And so like we can like, there's takeaways. Sometimes maybe there's like some synergy, like let's partner together on this, where like I bring this skill set, you bring this skill set, let's see what we can do together. So just super intentional. But it's also just like really fun to just get around like these other guys. So.
Yep. We had this question right here. Is Hawaii a judicial or non-judicial state?
It's judicial. I mean, there's certain times when foreclosures have been done non-judicial, but for the most part, it's a judicial state.
Shout out for being real right here. Someone said they need a Lambo. And then we got a detailed question here.
This is a Jason question.
Yeah, I know a little, at least enough to give some guidance here. It says, me and some people started a 501c3 nonprofit in California. We've done some research about REO bank-owned properties. We were told banks and credit unions and sometimes sheriffs give commercial and other properties to nonprofits. We don't have that type of cash to get properties. Short answer is, yeah, Jason's actively doing this.
Yeah, this is
and very, very beneficial. But the short answer is, yeah, there's REO properties that they release them to nonprofits and owner-occupied buyers first before they open it up to investors. So you get an advantage, you get a first shot at it, and that can be really advantageous.
Another idea too.
You need real cash. Like
yeah,
you need to be able to go like day of. Here's the check. It's not like a traditional escrow. Sorry.
Another idea is, I know a guy who's doing something similar here in Hawaii. Is there's a lot of real estate investors or business owners who basically have a lot of money, right? And we pay a lot in taxes if you're not shielded. So like a strategy would be like to start a nonprofit or to have some of like your things like go in the nonprofit direction. And then like you don't donate stuff to your nonprofit to like say basically you get a huge tax savings, but you still have like it still aligns with like your mission, et cetera. So like an idea would be to reach out to some of like the bigger investors in your area and say like, hey, is there any way we can partner together? Or like I can help you, like we can like, I mean like you, if you believe in my cause, like basically like we can basically like if you want to donate commercial properties and like still reap the benefits of like the huge tax savings, but we can partner together on some of these things where it just makes sense for you as a investor and maybe like they're retiring or whatever, or like they believe in your cause, that there is some synergy where you can do something like creative on that side to be able to like own a commercial property. So
I like that.
Yeah.
And then who would be the best people to talk to? Oh, and then it goes right into Daniel would be the best people to talk to donate properties to a nonprofit. Other businesses.
You gotta join the Llama Club, bro. Like you gotta ask people in the Llama Club, or I mean, you just want to get in bigger rooms like this. And so like, just like, I mean, you just put it out there to the universe, right? Who do you know is this is what we're looking for, and then just see like, is there any opportunity, and then from there, just trying to find somebody who's like who has some connections or somebody who's in that space, and then it might spark a conversation or an idea. So just trying to get in bigger rooms and network and add value to like a Dean or a Strat Daddy as much as you can.
they understand the answers. I had one more. I think I had one more question for you. Deal flow. So what does your business look like right now? What does your team look like?
So we got like a full-time admin, full-time like accountant, lender relations person. We've got a full-time project manager, full-time acquisitions guys, and a bunch of part-timers, like some acquisitions, some project management, one our podcast producer, and then a bunch of virtual assistants. That's like on our flipping business. And then on the commercial side, I was doing it myself, but I recently partnered with my Lambo friend. So like we're partnering on deals kind of moving forward where he's gonna basically do all the work. And I'm gonna bring the funds. And so I'm gonna oversee it, but like it's a partnership where like he can put in the work and he's like a smart guy, so he can like find the deals, manage them, do all those things, and I'll bring in like the investors or whatever to and then we'll kind of split the profits that way. So that's what like our current flipping and commercial like team looks like.
What's your goal in the next 5 years?
Like I mean, honestly, like I don't know. Like there's no like tangible goal. I mean, like I know I had like a vanity metric, like let's get to 100 grand in passive income, but I mean, like I don't know how like committed I am to that. Like I just really want to. I just want to see like I just want to grow, and I want to see like my team succeed too. Like it's like that's like the big thing. I don't have like a real specific like something real specific. So
me and Dean were
just talking about that today. Yeah,
me and Dean were talking about this today. It'll take you $100 million in net worth to really get like 100 grand in.
No. 20 million. You can do it in 20 million.
Think 20 million? 20
million. Then 100 to get 100 grand passive. 20 million.
Yeah, you think 20 million?
Yeah. I mean, like it depends. So like it's all like how efficient is your cash flow, right? And so like if you're doing Airbnb, you can get it with like 5 million or something stupid. But like with a reasonable, like decent cap rates, decent like long-term rentals, 20 million, you can get 100 grand in cash flow.
20 million net worth, not 20 million.
20 million net worth, not valuation of properties. 20 million like net worth. So like the equity in your properties is 20 million.
Yeah. I see that. I can see that because I look at my math, it being right around 10 million. I look at what the rents are and what the cash flow if it was paid off, and it's right at 60 grand. You know. Yeah.
So I mean, it's paid off. More than
right. So with the debt,
yeah.
That
makes a lot of sense.
So 20 million in net worth though, that's like owning $100 million worth of real estate.
Yeah, I mean, if you have like 8% debt on it,
like 80 to $100 million, like
So I mean, so if you guys get 100 million, or I thought you meant like 100 million like net worth, but like no. So 100 million worth of real estate, would get you there, or 80 million worth of real estate. So
yeah, definitely depends on what kind of quality of deals, what kind of asset classes.
Airbnb, bro, you really could get there if you have a solid portfolio.
No, I mean like 5 million, bro. Like if with a solid Airbnb, like you can get there. Like it's matters because Airbnb, like the ROI is like the cash on cash is stupid on some of these guys. But the one problem is like when the restrictions come in, they're like it's like you're taking a risk. So like it's not guaranteed for the rest of your life. It's like a long term, but like it's definitely a way to get there faster. And then once you have that cash flow, it compounds because now like your net worth is rising higher. So like it'll be easier to keep that because like you're rising up the curve. So even if the Airbnb tanks at that time, you're still like here when it's before it tanks, right? So
yeah, that's true.
Do we have any other questions, Dino? And does anybody? We have quite a few people on here. Does anybody else have a question for Daniel?
Yeah, hit us with your questions.
Thank you so much for coming on, King Kong of Real Estate.
It's always a blast. I mean, you guys are rock stars, man. I always like talking to you guys.
Yeah, we first met at an event, and I remember talking to Jason and Stratton after. I was like, dude, that Daniel guy's a cool dude. I'm like, did you meet that guy yet? Yeah, just when you run into other people that are, just good people that are doing good things, it makes you want to be around them more. So yeah, man, it's been awesome to have you on the podcast. It's been awesome to get to know you. And I know it's just the beginning. We're going to get to know each other more and more over the years. So
appreciate it. It's funny is like after I met you guys there, we went to like that Maui mastermind, and like Jason was there talking to him, and then I went to like some random one in Utah. Strat Daddy was there, like that big red suit realtor. I just like that. It's just seeing you guys like everywhere after that. It's like it's super cool.
That's how it goes. Start to get out.
Well, it looks like the people are too shy to ask questions. So we'll wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Daniel, where can people find more about you? Where can they follow you?
Probably Instagram is my biggest thing. Daniel Kong 808 on Instagram, and we just launched a YouTube. So we launched a podcast recently. So if you want to start watching our podcast episodes, it's we're on YouTube and Instagram. So Daniel
What's
Kong.
your what's your podcast name?
I'm trying to think of it. It's terrible. I don't realize. Building Wealth Through Real Estate with Daniel Kong. So
there we go.
Okay, and YouTube name.
Daniel Kong 808. So everything across all different channels is Daniel Kong 808.
Sweet. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to go give us a 5-star review. Go hit that. I think it's over here. Go hit like and subscribe right there. If you're listening on the podcast app, go give us a 5-star review. And please, please, please share it with your friends if this brought you any value. If you guys got any takeaways, send us a DMs. We'd love to hear from you. And then don't forget to submit your deals to us. I mean, I don't know if you're going to beat Daniel's deal. Daniel's deal is the best deal we've heard of so far on the pod. But go to deanrogers.com/podcast. And you can submit your deal to come on our podcast. We'll review your deal with you, look at it, celebrate your home run. We love seeing people come on here and win. Again,
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.